Welcome back to KVUE News at 10. Boomtown is all about rapid growth in the area, and one area that's seen immense growth is Dripping Springs. Over the last 10 years, the population of Dripping Springs has more than doubled as more people and more businesses move to the area.
KVUE's Connor Board learned about the excitement and challenges this growth is bringing to the city.
Just 24 miles west of Weird, a small town is seeing big changes.
The charm of the small town community with like the growth and expansion that's happening here. It's kind of lovely.
Dripping Springs has history on every corner of Mercer Street. There are also signs of growth all throughout the city.
We are winemakers from Portland, Oregon. We're originally from Texas.
Ian and Becky Atkins moved back to their home state to make wine in Fredericksburg and sell it in Dripping Springs.
It's made with white grapes, but they call this Ramato style.
Their tasting room, Summer Revival Wine Company, which is just off Mercer Street, is one of the newest businesses in the city.
And then this is made across the street at the Dripping Springs Chocolate.
They originally thought they would primarily serve tourists, but quickly realized that was not the top priority for their new city.
There was a bigger need than we realized in this community of like somewhere that felt more local to come and stay and like meet people or meet up with people in your community.
Like many people, the Atkins moved their family here. This is why more houses continue to go up, and so do the prices.
It went from being able to see the hill country to seeing the houses that are being built around you.
The Austin Board of Realtors report from May shows that the median home price in Dripping Springs is $954,000. That's 27% higher than just last May. And if you're looking for something that's under $500,000, you're going to have to look hard because that accounts for only 3.6% of homes.
These are potential developments that actually most of them have all now come in.
Dripping Springs Mayor Bill Fold says all these new houses are going up because the population is going up, especially when you look at the entire extraterritorial jurisdiction. Although the city of Dripping Springs is only 9.5 square miles, their ETJ is 110.
There's over 40,000 people in our ETJ. Our city limits on the new census is probably going to be about 5,600.
He says the growth can be great, but there are some growing pains.
It's just exploded exponentially for the last 20 years, but the last couple of years it's really taken off and the building is not stopping and the roads are getting almost unbearable.
Mayor Bill Fold says traffic is the biggest problem and expansion of Highway 290 is needed, but that would cause problems in itself.
When you fix 290, they're going to want to widen it, and there's so many businesses located right next to the road, you could lose businesses, and that's never a good thing. So it's a fine line, but we have to fix 290.
It used to be much easier.
There was not a traffic light between here and Austin 25 years ago at all.
The growth has also led to issues with wastewater needs. The city has been under a development moratorium for more than 8 months for some new builds while they figure out adequate wastewater infrastructure, which is further complicated by a lawsuit over the matter. But even with the moratorium, the city is overwhelmed with permits for new builds.
They're still processing permits as quickly as they can. They've got about a 2-week backlog.
Although the city has these growing pains and has seen a lot of change, Mayor Fold says he is proud to call this city home.
It's a great community still. I moved out here with my family 25 years ago. We moved out here for the schools and for the country.
As more families move to the area, that means more kids. That's why elementary schools in Dripping Springs saw a 16% increase in students in just 1 year.
Well, I think that we just had a graduating class around 500 or 600, I think.
Terry Garnett says that number is much higher than when he graduated from Dripping Springs.
My graduating class was 52.
Terry has owned Terry Garnett's Propane on Mercer Street for 40 years, but he's known the building even longer.
My great-grandfather and my grandfather built this building. This was originally a gas station and a blacksmith shop, and it passed down through the family over the years.
Although Terry now lives in Westlake, he still works in Dripping Springs and has his roots here. He even served as mayor in the 90s and has seen the change firsthand.
I would say the majority, I mean, so much in the last 5 years to 7 years, it's just been boom, you know, and it's getting faster and faster and faster right now. I mean, it's blowing up.
He's happy the growth has created more retail options, but is glad that Mercer Street is protected as a historic district.
As you leave, you'll see this little rock building. It's now, I think it's a curio shop or something right now. It was a barber shop, and there was Johnny Spa. It also was the post office.
The businesses that occupy these buildings have changed.
There was pumps on each side of that column, so the pump and a pump.
And the number of people who call Dripping Springs home is changing too.
We don't know what's going to happen, except it looks like it's going to keep growing pretty fast. That's why we're talking today, right?
So as this small town gets bigger, the goal is to keep the charm big as well.
Really hoping that Dripping Springs can stay a little smaller.
We've been here forever, and I'm so grateful that I've been able to be a part of this.
Reporting in Dripping Springs, I'm Connor Board.